The Galactic Assembly Hall, the heart of interstellar diplomacy, was abuzz with an intensity not felt in centuries. Representatives from hundreds of species milled about, speaking in their native tongues, through translators, or directly through telepathic connections. The sheer variety of life forms was staggering. Select creatures from the rocky world of Phoenix, gaseous beings from Zelia Prime, and towering insectoids from the outskirts of the Andromeda Cluster. Yet despite their differences, they all shared one thing in common: a sense of disbelief. The humans had requested a negotiation. Seated at the high table, Admiral Zalta of the Earth's Dominion, a fearsome insectoid species known for their combat prowess and territorial expansion, plagued his mandibles in agitation. His species, like many others, had dismissed the humans as a minor galactic annoyance. Sure, they spread to a few planets on the edges of their solar system, but the galactic community had largely considered them too primitive to pose any real threat. They were stubborn, resilient, and curiously inventive, but negotiations, that was unheard of. The humans had always fought tooth and nail, never backing down, never willing to compromise, and when they'd been pushed, they had retaliated in ways that left entire fleets in ruins. Rumors of human guerrilla tactics had spread through the assembly, tales of terrifying ingenuity that left even the most advanced species on edge. They weren't the strongest, but they had something even more dangerous: unpredictability. And yet here they were, seeking a diplomatic solution. The large, domed doors at the far end of the hall opened with a resounding hum. A group of human diplomats entered, led by an officer in a crisp Navy uniform. His name was Commander Sarah Lyons, a battle-hardened leader with countless scars from humanity's skirmishes against the galactic powers. She had been at the forefront of many conflicts, and now she walked with purpose, her gaze steady as she approached the central platform. The murmurs of disbelief grew louder. Negotiations, from them? Zalta's multifaceted eyes narrowed as he studied the human delegation. Their body language was controlled, confident, yet there was something unnerving about them. Unlike other species, humans didn't broadcast their emotions on their sleeves. Their minds were closed off, and their expressions often betrayed nothing. Lyons stepped forward, activating the translator embedded in her wrist. "Members of the Galactic Assembly," she began, her voice amplified by the acoustics of the hall. "Humanity comes to you today not as conquerors, nor as victims, but as equals." The room fell into an uneasy silence. Equality, the audacity. Zalta could feel the tension rising from his fellow representatives, many of whom considered humanity an upstart species, still crawling out of its cradle. "Our species has clashed with many of you," Lyons continued. "We've fought over resources, territory, and ideals. We've seen our ships destroyed, our people captured, and our worlds threatened. And yet, through all this, we've learned, we've adapted, we've grown." A representative from the Tarvok, a towering reptilian species with a reputation for brutality, sneered. "Learned what? How to die slower?" Lyons didn't flinch. She met the Tarvok's glare with calm defiance. "No, we've learned that we can't survive alone. We've learned that true strength doesn't come from isolation, but from cooperation, and that is why we're here today." Zalta leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. Cooperation? Was this some kind of trick? "You want an alliance?" a voice from the audience barked, belonging to the envoy of the Creel Collective, a hive-mind species. "Why should we trust you? Your kind has always been reckless, impulsive." "Trust isn't given freely, it's earned," Lyons responded, her tone unwavering. "We don't ask for trust blindly. What we offer is an opportunity chance to build something greater than any of us could achieve on our own. The galaxy is vast, and there are threats out there, beyond even the most powerful of us. The Pyrex swarm, the Dark Nebula, and those ancient relics hidden in the far corners of the galaxy. You've all heard the stories. We've faced horrors, just like you. Alone, we are vulnerable. Together, we are strong." Zalta clicked his mandibles again, this time in contemplation. There was truth in her words. The galaxy had grown more dangerous in recent cycles. Entire fleets had gone missing. Civilizations had been consumed by things lurking in the void. Even the mighty Zerth Dominion has suffered losses. You speak of unity, Zhao said, his voice deep and reverberating through the chamber. Yet your species has caused much chaos. How can we be sure this isn't another human trick? Lion smiled slightly, the first hint of emotion she had shown. Because, Admiral, humans don't trick when we're serious. When we want something, we fight for it. But today, we choose a different kind of fight for survival, together. For a moment, the assembly was silent, digesting her words. Then, slowly, the murmurs began again, though this time less accusatory, more thoughtful. Species that had long considered humanity a threat were reconsidering. The humans had shown that they could fight. They had proven their resilience, but now, they were offering something no one had expected, the possibility of peace, of mutual strength. Zelda clicked his mandibles once more, a gesture of deep consideration. Perhaps, he said, his voice softer now, it is time we stopped underestimating your kind. Lions gave a respectful nod, her eyes locked with Zelda's. Perhaps, Admiral, it's time we all stopped underestimating each other. The assembly hall, for the first time in many cycles, was united in a single thought: humanity, the species they had once dismissed, might just be the key to the galaxy's future. And for the first time, they were willing to listen. The Galactic Assembly's decision to hear the humans outset the galactic political stage of lies. Rumors spread like wildfire across countless star systems, from the gleaming citadels of advanced civilizations to the gritty industrial outposts planning to survival in the outer reaches. The question on every representative's mind was the same: could this be the start of something new, or just another twist in humanity's unpredictable story? In the Zerth Dominion's warship, Admiral Zelda stood on the bridge, his towering form cast in the dim, blue light of the ship's display panels. The Zerth homeworld was light years away, but the weight of its expectations bore down on him. He couldn't shake the feeling as something profound had shifted. His species, like so many others, had viewed humanity with disdain for so long, and yet here they were, perhaps on the cusp of something unprecedented. Admiral, incoming transmission from the High Council, a subordinate hissed in the Zerth native tongue. Zelda nodded, turning to face the projection that materialized before him. The Zerth High Council, a triad of ancient insectoid rulers, flickered into view, their massive forms swathed in ceremonial armor. Admiral Zelda, the central figure rasped, "We have received your report regarding the human negotiations. You believe this cooperation is genuine?" Zelda clicked his mandibles, pondering the weight of his next words. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but they are not without reason. They fight when cornered, and when they have the upper hand, they seek advantage. Their offer of cooperation may be their attempt to build a shield against the greater threats in the galaxy. The leftmost counselor's eyes flashed, and yet they were enemies. You suggest we ally with those who have cost us fleets, lives, and resources. Enemies can't become allies when necessity demands it, Zelda replied firmly. The Pyrrhic swarm grows stronger with each cycle. If what the humans say is true, even we may be at risk. We cannot afford arrogance. The counselors were silent for a moment, and Zelda could feel the weight of their judgment pressing down on him. At last, the central figure spoke again. "Proceed with caution, Admiral. We will not tolerate failure." The transmission cut off, and Zelda let out a slow exhale. This was no small task, but deep down, he sensed the humans were onto something. The galaxy had always been a place of shifting power and fragile alliances. Perhaps, for the first time, the humans were showing the galactic community a new way forward. Meanwhile, on a human capital ship Resolute, Commander Sarah Lyon stared out of the observation deck. The stars a blanket of endless possibilities. Behind her, the ship's executive officers, Lieutenant Jameson, approached with a datapad in hand. "Commander, we've received preliminary feedback from several species," he said, voice low. "Some of them are cautiously optimistic. The Zerth Dominion seems particularly interested, though their tone remains guarded." Lyons crossed her arms, a slight smile tugging at the corner of her lips. "Guarded is better than hostile. We'll take it." Jameson hesitated for a moment before continuing. There are also rumors and verified reports from the outer sectors. More ships have gone missing, and a few scattered outposts have reported strange sightings near the edges of the dark nebula. Lyons turned to face him, her expression hardening. The Pyrex swarm? Could be, but some say it's something worse. A chill ran down Lyons' spine. The Pyrex swarm was already a known threat, an ancient, ravenous species that consumed everything in its path. But the rumors of something worse, something lurking in the darkest corners of the galaxy, had been circulating for years. Humanity had encountered fragments of ancient technology, ruins of civilizations that had vanished mysteriously. It was said that those who ventured too far into the void never returned. "We need more intel," Lyons said. "Send out recon teams to investigate the last known locations of the missing ships and make sure our own defenses are on high alert. If there's something out there, we need to be ready." Jameson nodded and turned to leave, but paused. "Do you think they'll listen, Commander? The other species, I mean, do you think they'll really consider an alliance?" Lyons stared out at the stars again, her mind racing with the enormity of the task ahead. "I don't know, but we have to try. We can't face this alone." Far away, on the edge of the known galaxy, something stirred. Deep within the dark nebula, where no light reached and where even the most advanced sensors failed, an ancient presence began to awaken. It had been dormant for eons, a relic of a time before the current civilizations had even learned it to crawl. But now, the threats of the galaxy were shifting, and the presence could sense it. It hungered. Vast and incomprehensible, the entity that dwelled in the nebula had witnessed the rise and fall of countless species. It had seen empires crumble into dust, and now it could feel the stirrings of life encroaching on its domain once more. The humans, the Zreth, the Tarvak, the Creel. They were all insects, insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and yet, their activities, these talks of alliances, of unity had stirred the cosmic web. The presence could sense their fear, their hopes, their petty desires. And they would use them? The time was nearing. The galaxy had forgotten the ancient horrors that once roamed its darkest reaches, but soon it would remember. Back in the assembly hall, the representatives of various species were deep in discussion. The humans had made their case, and it was now up to the assembly to decide whether to entertain the notion of cooperation. The skeptics were many, but there were whispers of agreement, subtle nods between former enemies. For Admiral Zauda, the weight of galactic history was clear. His mandibles clicked thoughtfully as he observed the proceedings. This was no longer about politics or territorial disputes. Something far larger was at play, something the galaxy had only begun to glimpse.